Tell me something about yourself.
My name is Amina Sultana. I have qualified in November 2017 in first attempt. I did articleship in Y. Sukumar and Associates. Post qualification, I joined Italian Associates. There, I have been into stat audits. In stat audits, I have been through the walkthrough, understanding the entity and its process, test of controls, test of details, audit of balance sheet, and P&L line items. And I have been into accounting of companies where I need to look into end-to-end works, vendor invoice, vendor payments, payroll, MIS, and stat compliances, and a small part in the internal. And I have small part in internal audit. Thank you. Would you like to know more about? I would. Whether you would like to love to know more about me. That's from
Okay.
my.
Okay. What type of clients have you handled and what are the areas you handled?
I have been into service-related industries. In that, all the audit of balance sheet and P&L line items.
Okay. What are the major observations you had?
I have observed that in one of the companies, they were in the opinion that CSR is required to be paid profit after tax, but whether when it's required to be paid in profit before tax. And in one of the companies, I have found that there were few fake bank related transactions which were accounted to change debtor balances.
Okay. What do you know about the Schedule 3 amendments?
Schedule 3 amendments. One is there is a new column added in trade payables where we need to give to MSME and other than MSME, and aging analysis has to be given. Then security deposit has to be shown under long-term loans and advances.
And Caro amendments?
Caro, there is an amendment in the fixed assets where we have to report whether the property is in the name of company. If it is not in the name of company, then the details, whether it is held in the name of promoter, director, etc. Period for which it is not in the name of company, and why it was not in the name of company. And we have to give whether the company holds any property under Benami Property Act. And one more is whether there is any devaluation has been taken place. If it has been taken place, whether it was by the registered valuer, and whether there was any discrepancies 10% or more, the same needs to be disclosed. One is fixed assets, then CSR related activities, whether the company has contributed to the CSR projects within the period of other than ongoing projects within the period of 6 months. Need to give the details thereof, due date, dates in delay, and also the company has to report whether the company has contributed to the CSR projects which are ongoing projects, whether it was transferred to the special account within that time. If it's not, what are the date of delay, due date, and in detail thereof. And there was one more reporting in fraud where they have mentioned that whether the company received any whistleblower complaints. We have to inquire with management whether there was any whistleblower complaints received by the management during the period, and whether any form has been filed by the auditor reporting about the fraud.
3-4 पॉइंट ही बोलेगा, आंसर छोटा बोलने की कोशिश करेगा, ठीक है? हाँ, ये याद रखेगा, फ्लो में मत बोलते
ठीक है.
जाइएगा, ठीक है? What are the you have written in a resume procure to pay, order to cash. So what are the steps, risks, and solutions in procure to pay and order to cash?
Procure to pay, first with regard to purchase requisitions, then we have to check purchase orders, then vendor selections, then how invoicing process, then payment.
What is the risk?
Risk may be the POs. They may split their POs and do not take the management approvals. Not to take the management approvals. Next. Then invoices not authorized. Maybe the invoices are not authorized.
This answer can be told from common sense also. From the steps only you can tell the answer. What are the risks in the procure to pay? Common sense से बम आंसर बोल सकते हैं. थोड़ा
What are
कहेगा
the?
तो What is the risk in the procure to pay? Procure
What
to
is
pay
the
में risk क्या है इसमें?
risk? One is purchase order, split of purchase orders. Then selection of vendors, whether they may select related parties and make higher or lower payments.
Hmm.
Then invoices are not authorized, approvals are not taken based on
Hmm.
the limits.
Hmm. We are not approved by the
Purchase orders are not approved.
purchase order, not approved. We are not approved.
Hmm.
Payment without three-way match. What is
Yeah,
three-way
three-way
match?
match order.
What is
PO,
three-way match?
invoice, GRN is matching. We check PO,
Something.
invoice and GRN is matching.
Liquidated damages.
I didn't remember. I'm unable to recall the same actually at the moment.
You write
We'll
it down.
try to improve on it.
Liquidate damages. You will write it down. Okay. So the company incurs
Hmm.
some liquidate damages they recover from the supplier.
Okay.
The businessman recovers from the supplier if there is a delay in the supply of goods to the consumer. So that
Hmm.
liquidate damages they have to recover from the purchaser who fails to give the goods on time. Sometimes the businessman not record this liquidated damages. The auditors check that whether they have recorded the liquidated damages or not. This can be a case where they have forgotten to record the. This can be a case in the
Hmm.
procure to pay. They have forgotten to
Okay.
note the liquidated damages. Okay. Okay. What is the
बस
solution to
इतना
procure to
बोले
pay?
तो ओके है.
What is the solution?
Control check, delegation of authorities. Delegation of authorities, control checks,
PO split up, so
PO
the
split
amount
up,
can be
three-way
split. The
match.
amount can be small, no? The amount can be small.
Okay.
PO split up का amount बड़ा है तो उसको छोटा कर देगा जिससे वो
Hmm.
अप्रूवल बाईपास नहीं कर पाए. Amount can be lowered. That can be done, right?
Yes.
Segregation of duties. Somebody is recording the liquidity damages properly. Okay, everything is properly approved. ठीक है. What is the discrepancies in order to cash?
Order to cash. One.
आप जो भी सीवी में
There also
लिखता है
there
उसको
should
पढ़ना पड़ेगा. आपने सीवी में लिखा है इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ. तो जो भी सीवी में
correct.
लिखा है वो पूछेगा. उसमें याद रखिएगा. तो सीवी आपको अच्छा से
वही.
स्टडी करना है. ऑर्डर टू कैश, प्रोक्योर टू पे, जो भी आप लिख देना सीवी में वो आपको अच्छा से गो थ्रू करना है. तो उसमें होना नहीं चाहिए कि आपको छूट जाए आपसे. ठीक है. सीवी को गो थ्रू कर लीजिएगा. जो भी आपने सीवी में लिखा है ना वो सब पॉइंट्स लेके वो पूछेगा. ठीक है. तो आपने लिखा है जैसे प्रोक्योर टू पे, ऑर्डर टू कैश, तो वो आपको अच्छा से गो थ्रू करना है. पेरोल, कैपिटलाइजेशन, फिक्स एसेट्स. ओके. व्हाट इज रिस्क कंट्रोल मैट्रिक्स?
whether the whether the controls is correct, where the management has identified risk in this process is pay to pay, P2P, O2C, and H2R, whether the controls are automated or manual. Even though the statutory auditor cannot rely on these workings, he has to independently check the IFCR
आपको कोट
to
नहीं पहन सकता है. आप कोट पहनने से ठीक रहेगा इंटरव्यू में.
नहीं है एक्चुअली, मेरे पास नहीं है, हम लोग नहीं पहनते ना.
अलाउ ही नहीं है क्या? ओके. ठीक है. ठीक. ठीक है. और ठीक है. व्हाट इज द सीएसआर लिमिट?
CSR limit. Net profit is greater than or equal to 5 crores or more. Net worth is greater than or equal to 500 crores or more. Turnover is greater than or equal to 1000 crores or more.
What is the CSR amount that need to be paid?
2% of average profits of last 3 preceding financial years.
How do you do the what is risk control matrix? What you told? Risk control matrix.
Management, whether the management has, whether the controls are in place, where the management has identified the risk in the process, like procure to pay, order to cash, and hire to retire, whether the controls are automated or manuals. The statutory auditor cannot rely on these workings. He has to independently check on IFCR.
What is analytical review?
Analytical review is checking the trend analysis, making the comparison from the last year to current year. Are there any unusual or insignificant amounts? It is testing the financial information by doing trend analysis, ratio analysis, by comparing last year and current year data.
And you have done MIS reporting. What reporting you have done in MIS?
In MIS reporting, we have to give a detailed picture of profit and loss, how much is the expenses incurred during the period of time, and the position has on the month end date balance sheet.
And how will you do the sampling in audit?
Sample based on top 10 transactions, the top 10 transactions higher value or by previous year's experience based on judgment, significant accounts like revenue, cash and bank. Material amounts.
How would you check the going concern?
We check whether the going concern, whether the entity is going to be seen in foreseeable future. We check net worth of the company, whether there is any erosion in the net worth, whether there is any loss in key managerial persons. We check the whether the creditor, how the system is being there, whether it is being from credit to cash system or any loss of the major debtor, or loss of major high competitor, whether there is any high competitor in the market has been arisen.
What is the difference between depreciation and impairment?
Depreciation is the permanent decrease in the value of asset due to reflection of time and continuous wear and tear. Whereas impairment is reduction in the value of asset where the carrying amount of the asset is less than or equal to the recoverable amount.
Formula of impairment?
Formula of impairment, carrying amount minus recoverable amount.
Why you want to switch?
I would like to handle, I want to be only in the stat audit and have an interest to do offshore clients. I have already been into Indian practice. I would like to develop my career in stat audit.
You handle during the last 4 years stat audit or other areas also?
I have been into other areas, but mostly into the stat audit.
What are those other areas?
I have been into limited in internal audit, taxation part, and accounting of companies and LLPs.
Okay. And what do you mean by the term amortization?
Amortization is the allocation of value of intangible assets.
What is control testing?
We check whether the controls placed are effective or not.
What are the
Process
procedures in control testing?
procedures and control testing. We check what are the processes are in place, whether they are effective or not.
Walk through
We walk through
design
to the
walk through design implementation. test of operating effectiveness.
Okay. Walk through design and
Design, implementation, and test of operating effectiveness. How do you
okay.
start an audit?
Client onboarding and acceptance. Then we plan the audit by analyzing the current year and last year figures and determining the materiality. Then analyzing the risk, then assessing the risk of material misstatement by understanding the entity in its environment. Then performing control test by doing performing test of controls to check whether the controls are in place or not. Then we do perform the substantive procedure test of details by checking the sample. Then we report it to the reporting authority management.
How do you do the checking of the cutoff of revenue?
We take the last 10 samples before 31st March and 10 samples after 31st March. Then we check the Incoterms, what are the responsibilities of buyer and seller. Then we verify the PO invoices and check whether all the revenue related to this period has been taken into account or not.
What is the difference
And
between
whether any
IFC and
sales remain.
IFCR? What is the difference between IFC and IFCR?
IFCR is the policies and procedures to ensure the reliability of financial statements of a company, where the operation controls and fraud prevention controls are added to it. We call it as IFC.
What is IFC? IFCR?
IFCR is the policies and procedures to ensure the reliability of financial statements of a company. When we put the operational controls and fraud prevention controls, also then we call it as IFC.
What are the procedures performed in IFCR?
Procedures performed in IFCR. We inquire with management how the process is being done against each head, like in case of revenue, purchases, and understand their process and verify it.
We do also risk control matrix also out here. So we also do
Okay.
that in IFCR, risk
We
control
do.
matrix. Risk control matrix. We ask what are the processes, various risks, what are the controls, who is the control owner, who is the control reviewer, what will be the impact of the risks, whether the control is manual, automated, what is the frequency of
Automated.
control, what is the impact of the control on the financial statement, operational impact or financial impact. So this is also be done in the IFCR. Okay.
Okay.
Are you okay with traveling?
Yes.
And are you okay with long working hours?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
What commitment we can get from you if you join? If you join, why do we hire you?
I have experience in stat audit and I can contribute better to the growth of the company.
ये आंसर और बोलना पड़ेगा ना अच्छा से। ये बोलो मैं गलती कर इजी है तो ठीक है। What is positive and negative confirmation?
Positive confirmation where we send to the concerned person stating that the balances are matching or it's not matching. In case of negative confirmation, we request for the reply only when there is
Example.
mismatch in the response.
Example of negative confirmation.
Negative confirmation we are given where there is less, where there are immaterial amounts and there are large number of confirmations to be sent.
What is management override of controls?
Bypassing of controls, example, fictitious entries, personal expenses.
What are the different types of materiality?
There are three types of materiality: overall materiality, performance materiality, and specific materiality. Overall materiality is also known as planning materiality. Benchmark can be we set a benchmark. It can be anything. It depends upon nature and timing, whether it is total revenue or net profit or total assets of the company. it can be 2 or 2 to 5% of revenue. In case of net profit, can be 5 to 10%. Performance materiality is haircut to the planning materiality, which is 50 to 70% of the overall materiality. This is done so that the overall material does not breach in order, and we can check with inquire with management any material misstatements.
Okay. Why India's 115 was brought into?
115.
Mm.
In the AS9, it deals with only the goods and services, whereas in India, it deals with all types of performance obligation, and it also specifies how the measurement should be done in case of multiple elements, which is not in AS9. And also, it deals with in AS9, it deals with only risk and reward transfer. And
What
here
is MRL?
in
What is MRL?
MRL is a document issued by the client specifying the responsibility of the auditee and the auditor. It also states whether the company has provided all the requisite information to all the required information which are material to the client, and the information provided was correct.
What are the different types of audit risk?
Control risk, inherent risk, and the detection risk.
What is analytical review?
It is used to test the financial information, doing trend analysis, ratio analysis, comparison of previous year and current year figures, and judgment based on
Why,
previous year
why do we
experiences.
do comparison of the current year and the previous year figures?
To analyze what changes has been taken place from last year to current year, and what was the reasons for those changes being happened. Is there any to determine the materiality level, to determine planning, to what all the documents to be
What are the
verified and
different
collected.
stages in audit?
4 different stages.
Well,
Understanding the entity and environment and planning, then understanding environment, planning, execution level, completion, then reporting. Understanding and planning, execution, completion, and reporting. 4 stages.
what is walkthrough?
Walk through step-by-step procedures to the entity account system to ensure its reliability. It is nothing but testing the transaction through the entity's accounting system from start to the end.
How do you audit the trade receivables?
We we do cut off by checking 10 before 10 samples before 31st March and after 31st March to check all the sales has been recorded, and we also check substantive whether the data has been subsequently realized or not through by doing substantive check. Then we take confirmation from the debtors whether the balances are matching. We also take the ledgers and do a VLOOKUP and check whether the balance in the ledgers of debtors and these ledgers has been matching. And we also check whether the debtors has been recorded as per debtors has been accounted has been valued as per Ind AS 109 and Ind AS 21, and it is presented and disclosed as per Schedule 3. And we also check whether there are any bad debts or provision for bad debts to be recorded. We go through aging analysis of the debtors. On sample basis, we check whether the aging has been properly done or not. And wherever they are long lying, we take an inquiry from the management and write it off as a bad debt, or a provision is created against the same.
Great, great. Uh, I think your knowledge is good only, and you just have to improve on control testing, this P2P, R2R, high to retire,
Hmm.
IFC testing. So those things you need to improve. So that those things you go through the Excel sheet once more. I think more or less it is good, but you need to improve on those areas, and more or less you will be able to do well. I don't think so. Tax audit amendments, you know, no? Tax audit
Tax audit
amendments
amendments is clause 44, which is breakup of GST.
and audit
24,
report amendments,
imperpetual avoidance.
audit
Audit
report
report
amendments.
amendments, whether dividend is being paid. One was dividend is being paid, and
Mm.
second one was whether the audit trail is being recorded and it is not being altered.
UM paragraph, OMP paragraph, you know, only CAM, you know.
Hmm.
Good.
EMP paragraph which are
AMP
disclosed
paragraph
information.
is your litigations and contingent liability, whatever. And OMP
Yes.
paragraph, other auditor, audit is
Other
done
is
by some other auditor.
subsidiary.
Right, it's good only. Your knowledge is good. I hope you will do well. Okay, all the best.
Actually, one more thing, I have gone through interview of PWC SDC almost
Mm-hmm.
5 months back.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me question that how did you check the fraud before start of audit?
Okay.
I don't know the answer.
Anything else they asked you?
One is this. Another is they asked me sampling. What are
Mm.
the methods of sampling? Then
Mm.
how do you do the audit of investments?
Okay.
Listed investment and unlisted. If they are listed, how you will do? Unlisted, how they will do? Deferred tax, they asked me. Deferred tax, this sampling, then futures, forwards, derivatives. Then he
Mm.
asked me what are the items present in the balance sheet of insurance companies, where I already informed them that I have not done insurance company audit, but still they asked me what is the
We'll discuss this.
balance
Come in
sheet
the
of
same
insurance.
link. Come in the same link. We'll discuss all this. Okay. Come in the same
Oh,
link.